Another repair on this latest two-stroke engine. I've done a number of repairs on this one. I knew that I will spend time repairing and changing modification before I bought it, but that's okay. It's a learning process. It reminds me of my uncle, a guy who used to have a two-stroke old motorcycle. I mean, it was new at the time, but now it's probably from 60s. And he would repair, he would tune, he would rev the engine, he and his friend. And there were two guys, two friends who had this hobby, uh, repair, modify, test, and go for rides. And side story, one day my auntie, she was pissed because of the noise, because of the smoke, Um, she took some sugar and put it in the gas tank. Should I explain what happens with the sugar in the gasoline? Maybe not, but she ended up with some broken ribs, and she didn't last it too long after that. So we live in different day and age. I would not do that, but that was her mistake to uh, take away the pleasure of repairing a two-stroke engine. So she was the best in my life when I was a kid. So that was a side story. And I've been on the ice on the weekend, and I did some testing, and I realized that this emergency shut off button was not working, and uh, I tried to troubleshoot. There was a connector, a quick disconnect connector right here. I shorted those wire. I thought I'm going to fix it while away from the office, where I had minimum tools and devices to test. And I was able to shut it off with a choke. So I have this choke line here that it goes all the way to the carburetor. And yeah, it takes a couple of seconds and it turns off. But also I have the shut off gas line valve here, but that um, it takes maybe a minute till maybe 2 minutes until the hoses, the gas lines empty out. I can barely speak. Like I said, it's 2 a.m. and I'm supposed to be in bed, but I want to finish this thing here. And so when I got it here, it's Friday, and I decided, I mean, now it's Saturday, I decided to do some troubleshooting, and I found that um, this coil, because of this stupid rigid shrink tube, and because of this tie up they use in the manufacturer plant in Italy, um, this was moving a bit or vibrating, and I don't know if you can see, and it broke that pin, and that pin when shorted to the ground through the shut off button right here, it will stop producing, it will cause this one stop producing the spark for the spark plug, so the engine will stop. So now I learned what's going on, why this one was not working here. But before that, I replaced the whole throttle cable. So This is new throttle cable. I went with a new cable inside, but it was too thick. Actually, this one, or no, not this one. I discarded the other one, and then I had to find this sheeting or whatever, and I replaced that one. So I have everything new here, but also I had to install brand new wires, and the wires I've used are super flexible wires, and I'm going to show you hundreds of strands inside. Let's see if I have one here. That's if you see here, the strands from this wire, so many, and it's so flexible. So it's silicone coating or silicone insulation, and very flexible compared to the original one, which is some crappy cable they use uh, by these guys. Even this one, I don't know, it's like it looks like low quality connector. Everything is not right for use in a paramotor. Even see the wire is regular wire, but it's stiff. And when I took this one out, the shrink tube is the type with glue, but it's very rigid. So because of the vibration, this one moves the whole wire. I had a problem when I used tie wraps, and one of the button, same idea. One of this wire was pinched by the vibration and the tie wrap. So now I don't use tie wraps anymore. On cables, I use um, Velcro. Velcro will make a soft bond with the frame and stuff, so it won't cut the cable. And like I said, this is a very flexible cable. This connection is just to use this type of connector. I don't really like it, but it's done right. But maybe next time I'll use different connectors and attach straight to this thing, to this type of flexible wire. And now I have to take this one out, but kind of a caution, not a caution, a note here. When you install a new coil, you must preserve a gap. So make sure this part of the coil, this part is not going to touch the flywheel. It's not only rubbing, but is not you're not supposed to short this part to the flywheel. So what I did on this one, I used different cable. So I removed the factory cable. This is a new coil I'm going to use. So I took out the factory cable. I used this super flexible cable. I used not glued shrink tube. So this one will flex here a little bit with vibration, but it will not transfer whole vibration all the way to this contact, which broke onto this one. So I don't want the same story. And I hear people saying that if you fly paramotor, you will have engine out, like no way to avoid this. And I thought that's kind of silly. How come people go flying and with the thought that at some point the engine might quit? That's not very smart. And but now I see these manufacturers are not really using quality parts, like aviation type of quality parts. This is a lawnmower ignition coil, and the way they assembled in a factory, like this guy with this fat tie wrap that is and not, I don't know, it's all wonky. I don't like it. And there's not only that, other things in the paramotor engine that are not really reliable. And if I look at hundreds of pieces here, probably 10 should go. 10 should require some modification for reliability. I would not fly a thing if I know that one part might fail. So that's the little story about the small modification that I made here, and I'm going to use specialty glue. It's a soft glue that I'll fill this area. It's not for the moisture, but the same idea for vibration. So will hold things in place and will prevent the wire to break. Yeah. So I'm just going to remove these two nuts and bolts and put the new one back with the ground. So ground is here, and adjust the gap. I have a tool to measure 0.4 millimeter gap, and do a quick test and go home. So talk to you later. Bye bye.